Boom! And we are live on the very first episode of the FPL Battleground, where your football knowledge gets tested, where your tactics get exposed, and where only the bold gets to survive. My name is Chibike James, and this is where we will compete like kings. This isn't your regular fantasy podcast show. This is war, digital war, for points, for pride, and for the Premier League glory. But hey, it is a battleground, right? And I cannot go in alone. I've got my co-commander, a man who should have been the gaffer of Manchester United after Sir Alex Ferguson called his time in football a quit, the saddest Manchester United fan. A man who triple captained Justin Kluivert before everyone knew who he was. I bring to you Mr. Obaro.
Was that necessary?
Very necessary.
Did you have to remind me
to tell
Manchester United
I
fan?
need to remind them.
Yes.
Saddest one.
Yes, I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm a Man United fan by heart. And you see, my relationship with Man United has been toxic over the last few years. I would say toxic because there's a lot of wrong that's going on in the club. I mean, over the years, managers coming in, managers going out, players not hitting the standards according to their weekly wages.
Yeah.
So it's been sort of being a Manchester United fan. But I'll tell all the Manchester United fans out there that this season looks like a different one.
This is not fantasy. This is real life.
I know, but Amorim looks like he knows what he's doing. It looks like it looks like he's getting the transfer strategies right this time around. So we'll watch out and see for that.
All right, we'll watch out and see for that. And just so you know, this should be your guide throughout the Premier League season if you want to stay updated with everything that has to do with fantasy football. But this is FPL Battleground. I'm sure you might be wondering, what is FPL Battleground, Mr. Barrow?
Well, FPL Battleground is the playground for kings, as the name implies. Is where FPL managers and football lovers, Premier League lovers to be precise, all over the world can come and compete. We have exciting prizes for them at the end of the FPL season.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have a lot of monthly packages, a lot of weekly packages for those FPL managers who think they're juniors and want to compete with other elite managers as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there are going to be managers who feel that they are geniuses. And trust me, a genius mind should be rewarded. What are the prize money? What are we talking about right here on FPL Battleground?
Yes, we have a grand prize winner for the first position at $3,000. Then we have for the second position, that's the runner-up, at $1,000. Then other monthly prizes as well to be won.
All right, you had it. Lots to be won throughout the course of the EPL season. The first prize go home with $3,000, and you know what that is in today's market. Second prize as well gets to be rewarded because every effort do count right here on FPL Battleground. Second prize goes home with $1,000, and yes, there are amazing prizes for you to win throughout the course of the season. The monthly manager of the season gets rewarded with something juicy. I will not tell you, but you will get to know about that, and as well as other trivial questions that will be dishing out. So you have to stay close to this channel on YouTube and on Instagram. FPL just shook the table this season. Okay, I'm not talking about Ebuka Big Brother kind of shaking table. No, this one is completely different. We are not playing by the same rules as we did last season. And if you don't get yourself accustomed to the new rules and get yourself very much informed, you might be dusted even before game week 5. So what are these new rules? What are we talking about? Well, you need not worry because right here, we will dissect these new rules, explain them for you, and teach you how to navigate it from now till the end of the season. And first off, talking about the new rules, Mr. Obaro, what really has changed? Can we say that these new rules are an improvement for what we saw last season, or will I say not too good from what we saw last season?
Absolutely. You see, I commend the FPL team because I feel they've listened to the cries of FPL managers over the years. You see, these rules are a very big improvement on the game and it's going to attract a lot of more FPL managers. We're going to look at the rules like the defensive contribution rule, which actually helps to revive forgotten players. Players in the centre-back positions and players in the defensive midfield positions. Players like Caicedo, players like Rodri, players like Tarkowski, players like Tyrone Mings and these guys. Because these guys actually are the ones that make the game fun for us. I mean, we love to see interceptions in football. Yeah. We love to see tackles. That's what makes football special. That's mean. Football is different from basketball because it's a full contact sport. Yeah. So now they've put emphasis on points for tackles and all of that. I think if you make a total of 10 tackles, blocks, interceptions, you're going to get 2 points as a defender. And if you do that as a midfielder or as a forward, you're going to get, if you do that as a midfielder and a forward 12 times, you're going to get 2 points. And that's a very big bonus to FPL managers and to these assets that are not normally picked in the FPL game.
And yes, talking about the defensive contribution points now, FPL will give 2 extra points to defenders who make 10 combined clearance, blocks, interceptions, as well as tackle. And they call this one the CBIT. And for midfielders and forward, it is 12 actions, including ball recoveries. And this is called the CBIRT. So basically, defenders are now getting rewarded for doing their jobs as defenders. And trust me, this one, players like Tarkowski, just like you mentioned, will be very much rewarded.
Very much.
Still talking about the new Fantasy Premier League rules, next up has to be the assist rules simplified. And this one, assist just got easier. What does this rule say? It says that even if a pass is deflected, as long as the ball ends up with a scorer inside the box and only one defender touches it, it counts. That would have even make up of 41 assists that was missed out last season. How simplified is this one for you?
Very brilliant. You see, this is one that I will commend the FPL team a lot for, because I would say it makes the assist rule simpler. I would say it just makes it a whole lot clearer. Because now we know that when an attacking player crosses the ball into the 18 and it deflects off a defender and the goal is still scored, it's counted as an assist in FPL. So it's one that FPL managers are accepting wholeheartedly, and we all are happy about it.
But we're talking about this assist rule. Which of which players will get benefited? Is it the defenders, the attackers, or even the midfielders?
Everybody. But I think the midfielders usually get more assists over the course of the season, so they're going to be the playmakers, the number 10s, the Bruno Fernandes, the Odegaards, the Florian Wirtz. They are going to benefit a lot from this.
They are going to benefit a whole lot from this. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got Bruno Fernandes or Martin Odegaard on your draft, you need to save them, because this one makes life a whole lot easier for attacking players. And next has to be the double set of chips. This one, I would say, it is very, very crazy. Now, we get full 2 sets of chips, wildcards, a free hit, bench boost, and the triple captain. And one of those chips will be played in the first half of the season, and the second chip comes in the second half of the season. This is brilliant.
Yes, very, very brilliant. You know, there's a Nigerian song, there's a popular Nigerian song while I was growing up.
Yeah.
It used my favorite Christian song. It used to say, everything na double, double. So, you see, this rule is one that a lot of FPL managers have been clamoring for. You know, they say the more the chips, the merrier the managers. So, it only helps to simplify the game. It only helps to attract more FPL managers to the game, and it keeps the game easy and on a level playing ground for everybody. Now you have double chips. You know that you can plan yourself a lot more as an FPL manager. You know that I have 8 chips to use this season, and I'm not saying you should go and overuse it and use it wrongly, because a lot of people can use their chips before
as early as game week 5.
As early as game week 5, and you don't have any chips and you're crying already. So it's one that as an FPL manager you still have to think about it, but it only makes the game a little more fun.
Makes the game a little more fun and makes it easier, and it rewards smart planning or maybe pure vibe. So no excuses now, ladies and gentlemen. Just don't blow out all of your chips before match day 5. And next on the new set of rules employed by the FPL gods has to be this one. Out of the blues, no one saw it coming, but very, very important, and that is the extra transfers around the African Cup of Nations. Now, this one says, game week 16, mark it down. You will get free transfers top up to 5 to help plan for your players missing during the African Cup of Nations. Now, African bowlers like Mo Salah, like Kudus, like Alex Iwobi, like Calvin Bassett, like Simon Adriga, all of these players will leave the Premier League to represent their nation in the African Cup of Nations. This one, definitely, African players will not be missing out on the FPL throughout the course of the season.
Yes. You know, over the last seasons, when the AFCON is approaching, a lot of FPL managers start to panic, because it's very difficult to plan your team. When it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the AFCON, you start rushing. You start making mistakes. So the FPL team has actually listened to the managers and have said, okay, let's come to your aid. Let's give them 5 extra transfers when the AFCON is approaching around January, I think.
Yeah, January.
Around January. So you don't get to miss out on, you don't get to make mistakes with your team. You can still use those 5 transfers and make rotations around your team. You can take out, if you have Mo Salah, which I know almost everybody is going to have, you know how to make your rotations around him so that it doesn't really affect your points, and it only keeps the game interesting, and it keeps attracting FPL managers to be there till the end of the game.
But coming to the African Cup of Nations, is it going to be advisable, okay, if managers get to stack up their squad with African players so that once it's time for January and players have to leave for the AFCON, they can have that free transfers to utilize at their will, okay?
Yes, that's the essence of the rule. You know, the rule only allows you the freedom to expressively pick African players in your team, so that you're not afraid. You're not going to say, "Oh, this is an AFCON year, so I don't need to gather a lot of African players in my team," because before the rules actually came out, that was a headache. A lot of people were already thinking that, how do I manage having the likes of Salah, the likes of Kudus, the likes of Alex Iwobi, Adingra in the same team? It's going to cause a problem for whoever wants to do that. So with this rule now, once you're giving your five transfers in game week 16, you can start planning. And you know, oh, okay, by January I have 5 extra transfers that will help me to ease my pain when the AFCON starts. So it's a welcome rule, and that one that's generally accepted by the FPL community.
Well, generally accepted by the FPL community, and I don't know what you think about this one. Is it one that is very much acceptable by you as well? And yes, fantasy football are now very much considerate. So no emergency heat, because half of your squad have been leaving for the African Cup of Nations. And next up has to be one that I would say it is for pride and ego. It is the top 1% and the top 10% leagues. Now, what do this one say? FPL is launching the top 1% and the top 10% elite leagues. Now, if you are in the top 1% globally, you are ranked with other elites in mind. Same with the top 10%. I don't know. This one is just about pride and ego, and how can one be part of the top 1% and part of the top 10%?
I love this rule. You see, this is my best rule in this FPL this season, because
supporting my
it's not because of that. You see, it's pride, like you said. It's pride.
Yeah.
Now you have credibility. You know what you're playing for. Just like, let me give an example. Just like qualifying for the Champions League. Let's take the top 1% as those who qualified for the Champions League from last season. Then the top 10% now are those who qualified for the Europa League. For the Conference League, people like Chelsea, I mean, they are not in the picture of the Conference League.
You have to put it in.
So you see, this rule is perfect. It's wonderful because it fits your ego as an FPL manager. It lets you have should I say a level of self-consciousness when you're selecting your teams, and then you know that, oh, this season is not going to be taken for granted because this season determines where I will be next season. Yeah, so perfect from them. It's going to keep a lot of FPL managers entertained to the end.
Definitely going to put you on your toe. This one is all about bragging rights. So if you've got the swag, if you've got the determination, and if you want to stay afloat amongst the elite of fantasy football, you need to always and at all times stay glued and get your formation as well as your picks very much correct. And trust us, right here on FPL Battleground, we will simplify things for you and make it more easier. So make it a date with us to always keep a date and try to follow us on everything that we do here, because we would always give you all of the tips that you need to get yourself into either the top 1% or the top 10%. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the major changes that FPL has introduced for this season English Premier League. The defenders now get more points, the assist gets more easier. We now have double chips and the AFCON free transfers coupled with the top 1% and the top 10%. But that's not all. We have got more to talk about right here on the FPL Battleground. And this one is one I'm sure that you would want to know. What are or who are the top must-have picks that we have for this season? And this is where it gets very interesting. Can I have Salah and Haaland and Cole Palmer and even Kevin De Bruyne all on the same team? I don't know. The top 10 that every manager should have in their draft come next season.
The top 10, I would say, it's quite hard to determine because there's a lot of wonderful players in the EPL.
Okay, let's start with those who did very well last season, okay? The top players from last season. Do you think that they can replicate such this season?
Definitely. Mo Salah, definitely. Everybody should have Mo Salah because Salah
Now
is like,
you are
Salah is
putting
like
yourself on the line, saying everybody should have Mo Salah.
to me, it's a
Okay.
must because Salah is like an undisputed FPL asset.
Hmm.
Salah has
Undisputed.
delivered over the last 5-6 seasons in the Premier League. Consistency. You can't beat that.
You can't at all.
And that person is Erling Haaland. I know a lot of people are trying to undermine him. People are forgetting what he can do because
The Pep
because of
Roulette,
the-
changing of
not even the
players.
Pep Roulette, he's a constant in the Man City team. But because of the injuries he had last season and the way Man City finished last season, the way they approached the whole season, it wasn't too good. And then his price is so high right now. You can't fit in. It's not easy to fit in Mo Salah and Haaland in the same team. So I've noticed that a lot of managers are picking Mo Salah first and then saying,
Maybe later in the course of the season,
maybe
we get
later.
to
Let
see
me
how
see
Haaland
how the
performs.
new Man City team performs because there's a lot of changes. Kevin De Bruyne has left to Napoli.
Yeah.
Now they've hired the likes of Czechia. They
Yeah.
hired the likes of Reinders trying to replace Kevin De Bruyne. So we are going to see over the course of the season. But I think Haaland is another player. Another wonderful player I would like to talk about is Morgan Rogers.
Rogers.
Rogers is a wonderful player, and if you watch Aston Villa games, you know that he's a wild card.
The engine house.
Aston Villa is built around Morgan Rogers right now. You see, Unai Emery is almost like Pep Guardiola. He does a lot of rotations to his attacking team and to his defense as well. But Rogers always remains in the team.
The constant.
That shows you. That talks about him, a lot about him. And then last season, he had a lot of points. Rogers. Nobody expected Rogers to be where he was last season. So. He's an addition that I would like.
But let's look at one of the biggest surprises we saw last season, Chris Wood of Nottingham Forest. Do you think that should be considered again this season?
Definitely. You know, I was about ruling him out.
They brought in a new striker.
It doesn't mean Woods is still going to be the number one. I was about ruling him out because Elanga left. And then Morgan Gibbs-White was about to go. And I was like, who's going to be supplying this guy?
Yeah.
Because Elanga and Morgan Gibbs-White, they were wonderful last season. So after the Morgan Gibbs-White deal broke down with Tottenham, I said, well,
they brought in Nottingham Forest, brought in Dan Ndoye, a very exciting winger.
Yes, and Ndoye is going to support him. Ndoye is almost like Elanga in the same. In fact, he's a more skillful player than Elanga. So I think that's going to be an extra addition. So Chris Wood is an excellent pick. Another player I would like to mention is Cole Palmer. You know, last season was
Cole
Palmer. Last season was up and down for him actually, but he still performed very well. I mean, the expectations are so high on Cole Palmer now that when he doesn't perform in a week or two, we think that he's now undermined. But Cole Palmer is still a wonderful player, and we saw what he did against PSG.
Yeah.
We saw that spark and energy. He's a very determined player, so he's another FPL asset that every manager should look at having.
Okay, now we've got Mo Salah, we've got Erling Haaland, Morgan Rogers, we've got Chris Wood, we've got Cole Palmer. Now, let's also talk about the new introduction in the Premier League teams who came from the Championship, the likes of Burnley, the likes of Leeds United. Okay, these teams are back to the Premier League. Are there players that we can, or managers can say that, okay, from this team, I should or I must have this kind of players? We have Burnley, Leeds, we have Sunderland as well. Sunderland have young and exciting players, and they have done so well in the transfer market this summer. They've brought in the likes of Granit Xhaka, who is also going to be an asset in their midfield, as well as other very wonderful players. Burnley last season had one of the defensive team, or the best defensive team in English football last season. Okay, do you think that managers should be looking at this team and say, okay, I need to get players from this team, and they would have to be constant throughout the course of the season?
Well, I'll talk about Sunderland first. You see, there's a player I love so much in Sunderland right now. He did a very wonderful transfer with bringing in Adingra. I don't even know how Brighton let Adingra go, because Adingra is a wonderful player. We saw him in the AFCON against Nigeria.
Yeah.
We saw what he did.
The magic.
We were mesmerized. So I was surprised by that deal. Like I actually thought Adingra was going to be a regular player in Brighton this season. But kudos to Sunderland. They've done. I would get Adingra in my team, no doubt. Adingra is a wonderful midfielder, skillful, technically gifted, can play box to box, spacey, tricky. So yes, and with the addition of Xhaka to Sunderland, I mean, wow, that's very brilliant. Then going to Leeds, I would say
the goalkeeper, Millier.
Yeah, Millier is good. Millier is good, but I don't trust the Leeds defense just yet. I'll talk about Willie Gnoto and Dan James, the wingers for Leeds United. these guys are pacey and tricky. I mean, remember when Leeds were in the
In the
Premier League?
yeah.
We know Dan James from his time in Manchester United.
Yeah.
You know how pacey he can be and how dangerous he can be in the boxing team. Any little contact and he's down. So those are two players I admire in
look
Leeds
out
as
for.
well. Yeah. Yes.
And Burnley,
In Burnley, I'll talk about Steve.
the defender.
Yeah, the defender. He's a wonderful player. He's a very determined player, and he's a defender that I think every FPL manager can afford to have on their team.
Every manager can afford to have on their team, and these are just the 10 picks that we'll be giving to you, just so you know. Okay, it's a blend of the most expensive players and those you can get for a cheap amount. Okay, so for your fantasy draft, okay, you need to consider all of this and make sure that you put them in a perfect blend. Okay, the Mo Salahs of this world, the Helen Haaland of this world, the Morgan Rogers of this world, and you can even go as low as the Steve of this world. Whatever choice you make, they count in your fantasy drafts.